Cathaoirleach. I agree with my colleague in relation to the information being provided to ministers, but as Mark Twain has said many times, he quoted the famous line that statistics are pliable and facts are stubborn, but when you don't have the facts, there's nothing you can do about it. And while heads should roll in a modern democracy, the fact that the lists aren't accurate means that the HSE have a lot to answer for. But that doesn't mean that the minister isn't still the person in charge. And we had many a time we had Minister Leo Varadkar in here, and you would swear that he was a commentator on the health service instead of being the Minister for Health, and yet we don't, and no one can point to any reforms that he made when he was Minister. In relation to facts, the DUP leader is also a person who seems to be unable to attain facts as they apply to the real world. First of all, she's not a woman of detail, as we know, because even though she was in charge of the department that promoted and signed off on the renewable energy scheme, she said that she didn't realise that the devil was in the detail, and that in reality she was giving away hundreds of billions to people to literally burn money. She's not very good on the facts either when she said yesterday that more people in Northern Ireland...
yourself sometimes. Senator Coughlin, you're very interruptive today. By interrupting, you're delaying the whole process. Senator Daly, you have 20 seconds. So.
I'll start again for the benefit of the...
No, that's not allowed.
In relation to the DUP leader and her attainment and her ability to grasp facts, she doesn't seem to understand that her department were in charge of signing off on the renewable energy scheme, Senator. Doesn't seem to understand that she has burnt billions, half a billion in terms of money on the scheme, to the point where I am informed by people in Northern Ireland that they're not even burning the pellets that they're getting paid to burn. They're actually taking the pellets south and reselling them. That's enterprising, and I'm sure the DUP would love that type of enterprise. But she also said something yesterday that's not a fact either. She said more people in Northern Ireland speak Polish than speak Irish. That's not true. There's 30,000 Polish speakers and there's 105,000 people who speak Irish. But as to the most important fact that she doesn't seem to understand at all when she was talking in relation to her announcement of the DUP's policies, that she doesn't support the Irish Language Act and she will not see one implemented. That is part of an international agreement. That's a fact. It's the St Andrews Agreement, and it should be implemented. And yet the DUP seem to want to roll back on an agreement that they themselves signed up on. She doesn't seem to have much of a grasp of the facts, but I think it is deplorable that the DUP are now railing back and rolling back on their commitment to the Good Friday Agreement and the St Andrews Agreement. And finally, Senator,
you're a minute
in relation to the state of Israel and its behaviour, where it's taking over other people's land and putting houses on occupied land and taking Palestinian land and putting houses, a deplorable act by a country that's a democracy. We don't expect much of Syria. We don't expect much of Iraq. Yeah. We don't expect much of those countries. We expect a lot more of the state of Israel. Thank you.